Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So you are probably reading the title of this video and you're like, what? Like, what is she talking about? Yes, guys, just like the title of the video says, my baby was born 5 weeks early. Not 1, not 2, not 3, 5 weeks early. So I have a lot to tell you here on this video. I didn't make a birth vlog. I was going to. Let me explain why, what happened. Oh my gosh, I feel bad. But yeah, so I have a lot to tell you. So if you want to know exactly what happened, and stay till the end of the video, and you're gonna see my baby. My baby's kind of napping right now, so I don't want to wake him up. But I promise I'll show you guys my sweetheart, my baby, my sweet baby at the end of the video. So keep on watching. Alrighty, so let me start. I don't even know where to start. I mean, he's 4 weeks old today. He's 4 weeks old today when I'm recording this video. I'm gonna try my best to put it up tonight, so you guys can see it, because I feel that I was supposed to film this video a long time ago, but let me explain what happened, and just crazy things happen. So, alright, so let's rewind, okay? Back to around mid-March. Okay, so it was okay, let me tell you how everything started. It was a Sunday morning, and part of this video might be TMI, so I apologize in advance. Now, I'm sorry, but it's a birth story. We're gonna talk about pregnancy and labor and all that, so let me explain. So it was a Sunday morning, and I woke up, I was in my bed, and I realized that my underwear was wet. Yes, I mean, I know it sounds funny, like, what are you talking about? Yes, so, and I was like, I mean, I'm like, what's going on? I mean, did I just pee when I was sleeping or something? I mean, I know I'm getting old, but not that old, right? To like not be able to contain my urine. So I was like, weird. Okay, so that morning, okay, that kept happening. I had to change my underwear like 3 times. Like I said, it was a Sunday morning. So my doctor was closed, so I couldn't call them. So I waited till next day, Monday. Alright, so I called my doctor first and I told them what was going on, and she asked me, how far along are you? And I said, well, I'll be 35 weeks tomorrow, or like the day after. She said, okay, so why don't you go to labor and delivery at the hospital and they can check you there. You know, there's a quick test that they can do to know if what you're leaking is urine or if it's amniotic fluid. So I went there, I went to the hospital. I remember my plan wasn't to stay at all. I mean, I packed like a couple things like toothbrush and toothpaste and a couple of basic things and maybe a little bit of clothes, just like a change of clothes. But really, I wasn't expecting to have to stay. I mean, I was like, I was even there waiting for the test result on the triage area, on the triage room. And I was telling my husband like what things I wanted to do that week. That week I was gonna do a lot of things that I didn't get to do. I was gonna just finish packing my hospital bag, my diaper bag, call the pediatrician to at least kind of introduce myself and, you know, tell them, hey, I'm gonna have a baby, whatever this day. Okay. So I was there waiting for the nurse to come back with the results of the test. And she comes to the room and she's like, Leslie, your water broke. And I was like, what? I really thought it was those kind of shows, you know, where you have a hidden camera. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'll be 35 weeks tomorrow. I mean, I'm supposed to go for like 5 more weeks. I was thinking, I mean, at least, I said, sometimes I would have a feeling that he would come early, but not that early. You know what I mean? Like, I used to think, oh, well, who knows? Maybe I don't make it to my due date, and maybe he's born a couple weeks early. Especially because I have the gestational diabetes, and you know, when you have gestational diabetes, one of the risks is preterm labor. So, you know, I thought, oh, who knows? Maybe I'll make it. But I wasn't expecting him to be here 5 weeks early. 5. That was, nobody expected that, believe me, nobody did. So, alright, so when she told me that, I couldn't believe it, and she said, you're getting admitted right now. Now what happened was, it's not that my water broke like all the way, you know, like you see in the movies or whatever, and it's like a lagoon, you know, a lot of water. It wasn't like that. It was like a rupture. So it was like a little hole on it or something. So I was leaking amniotic fluid. Now the thing is, my body wasn't really going to labor or anything like that. You know, usually when your water breaks, you go into labor, you know, things speed up, right? So I wasn't going into labor. So they tried to induce me since like, I'm gonna say Monday afternoon till like the next day, till like Tuesday, till around 5 p.m. or so. So they tried Pitocin all night. I mean, I was there. Guys, I didn't vlog. I didn't feel like vlogging. The phone I have right now is better, but the phone I had back then, it was just nasty. It would lose the battery would die very fast. I was so nervous. I was so scared. I think because everything happened so early, like quickly, I mean like early especially, that I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I really wanted to make a birth vlog. I mean, so many things didn't go as planned, and I might talk about that on some other video or maybe a vlog or something. But a lot of things didn't go as planned. Thanks God, he's home now, he's healthy. But let me tell you guys, these past few weeks were pretty crazy for me and my husband and I. So, alright, so again, I got admitted. They tried to induce me. I'm not gonna give you every detail, but they tried to induce me. Then they tried to use Psychotech, I think it's called. It's like a little pill that they put on the cervix, and that's supposed to, you know, give you contractions and dilate and all that. Gosh, they checked my cervix like countless times. I mean, I got to a point when I was like, I would tell the nurse, you know what? Right now I would prefer to have a C-section because I have anesthesia with that, than for you guys to keep on putting your hands, your fingers in there. It was painful. I mean, I always hear how painful it is, how uncomfortable it is, and yeah, that was one of the worst parts probably about being there. That actually bothered me more than the C-section itself. And now it brings me to explain to you, okay, what happened. So they tried to induce me for hours and hours. Nothing happened. My body wasn't doing its job. You know, it wasn't going into labor naturally like it was supposed to. So, alright, so around like 5 p.m. on Tuesday, March 14, my doctor, which by the way, she's one of my favorite doctors there. Remember I used to tell you on my pregnancy updates that I had 2 favorite doctors there. The 2 women there, I love them. They're really so fun, so much fun and so sweet, and they're just great. So yeah, so I knew that was a good thing. I knew it was gonna be either her or the other female doctor, which I really like. So at least I said, well, you know what, let's look at the bright side. Like, 2 of my favorite doctors are here today, and one of them is gonna deliver my baby, so that's great. So alright, so she came and checked me, the doctor came and checked me one last time, and she said, I want to see if you have made some progress, because the last time they had checked me I was like 1.5 centimeters dilated, and that was it. So I was like, okay, one last check, like I took a deep breath. She checked me and she said, sorry chica, like she said you're exactly the same, 1.5 centimeters dilated. You haven't made any progress. And I mean, by then many hours went by, like over a day trying to induce me, and nothing happened. So at that point there was a risk of infection, you know, because when your water breaks, they're supposed to deliver the baby actually like within 24 hours. Now this was a little bit more than 24 hours. But yeah, she said, you know, at this point I think we're gonna go with a C-section. That's the safest for you. And again, that wasn't what I had planned. I mean, that wasn't part of my birth plan. But remember, I didn't even get to film that video, guys. I had to film the what's in my hospital bag, what's in my diaper bag video, and my birth plan video. I wanted to make that birth plan video. There were a few videos that I was gonna film in these last few weeks, and I didn't get to do that. So I don't know if I ever mentioned, but yeah, I did want a vaginal birth. That was my #1 choice. I was very scared about a C-section, especially the recovery, not the surgery itself, because even though it's major surgery, it's a very common surgery. So I was like, I trust my doctor. The chances that things will go wrong are very slim, in my opinion. So yeah, anyways, but you know, if I could choose, I would have preferred, you know, to have a vaginal birth, which now looking back and thinking, when I think about that, he was 5 weeks early, and the way, you know, when he was born, and I'll go to that in a minute, I think the C-section was the best choice for my baby and I really, really do. I mean, hands down, I'm so glad. When I look back, I'm so glad about, you know, my doctor and I making the right decision. I think we made the right decision for my baby and for myself. So yeah, I just couldn't be happier when I look back, right? So okay, so anyways, my body wasn't doing it. So when she said, yeah, I think you should have a C-section, my husband was home because he went to check on the dogs. And you know, they kind of told him like, oh yeah, it's gonna be a while, we're gonna wait a few more hours. And then suddenly my doctor shows up, she texts me and she's like, let's do a C-section, like in an hour. So he had to rush back home because we live like 40 minutes away from the hospital. We don't live right there. No, actually like 35 minutes or so, anyways. So yeah, so I was like, come right here, come back, they're gonna do a C-section. And he was like, oh my gosh, like I just got home. I mean, yeah, like I called him half an hour later after he left. So he had to rush back in, they waited for him, they got me ready for surgery. It was everything. I did get a little bit scared, I'm not gonna lie, when like I was like, oh wow, they're gonna open my stomach, my uterus, and take the baby out, and then they're gonna sew me back in. I got a little bit nervous, a little bit scared. I started calling my family. My family wasn't here yet. My parents are here now, but they weren't here yet because nobody was expecting this boy to come 5 weeks early. So I was a little bit scared, you know, not having my family with me. I was a bit concerned, but at the same time I trusted my doctor. And you know, one nurse was laughing at me because I told her earlier that day, I said, I'm sick of waiting, I am tired of being here trying to get induced and nothing's going on. I will hear, you know, like every time a baby was born, if it's not like after 7 p.m. and I mean certain time in the morning, they play a lullaby song, so in that hospital. So that's how you know, so every time a baby is born, you know that a baby was born. So and I would hear, I don't know, I think 6 women gave birth since the moment I was admitted till before my C-section. So I was like, I want to meet him, I cannot wait. And I told one of the nurses, I want to meet him today. I don't care if it's gonna be a vaginal birth, if it's gonna be a C-section. I just want to meet my baby. I can't wait. Like I was tired of waiting and seeing no progress, no contractions, nothing was going on. So, and I would start getting worried about the baby, you know, because there was a risk for infection too. You know, because of waiting and waiting, and we couldn't leave him there without, you know, running out of amniotic fluid. So yeah. So anyways, and they got me ready for surgery. Everybody was super nice, the nurses, the anesthesiologist, sorry guys if I mispronounce it. Everybody was amazing. The hospital, fantastic. I cannot complain about anything. So yeah, they started just like opening my stomach, like, and you know, everything happened very quickly. And like 10 minutes later or so, she's like, are you ready to be a mommy? Like, are you ready to meet your baby? And I never forget that moment, guys. I never forget that moment. It was just crazy, and especially with what happened to me, you know, before this baby. I went through a lot. I suffered so much. I experienced loss, and I never made a video about that, but I'm sure I'm gonna give you my miscarriage story, because you guys, you know, if you had suffered, if you have been through that, you're not alone, and you probably would like to hear my story about that, but that's for another video. So anyways, so when she said, are you ready to be a mommy, gosh, that was surreal. And when I first heard her first cry, I don't know, it's just, I cannot describe it, put it in words. I really can't. It was like a dream. It was like a dream come true. I think I always wanted to be a mom, always. And of course, you know, but I wasn't really in a rush till I turned 30. I mean, I just wasn't. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I wasn't. I wanted to travel, and I was fine. I was happy. I was okay not having kids, but I always knew I wanted them in the future. And when I turned 30, I went crazy, and I was like, I want to be mom, I want to have kids. I'm running out of time, and yeah. So anyways, and yeah, so I heard him cry. Now what happened was, because of there were a few reasons. He was born 5 weeks premature, so he was born early. And you know, lungs are the last thing to develop on a baby. They are the last thing to develop completely when they're in the tummy, in the uterus. So so he was born with trouble breathing. So I didn't get to hold him. I didn't get to kiss him on the cheek. Like a lot of times, when everything goes well, they clean the baby up a little bit. They wrap the baby on a blanket, and then that brings the baby to the mom so the mom can see it, right? While they're stitching you up. So we couldn't do that because he was born with trouble breathing. They had to give him something called surfactant, I think it's called. I'm gonna leave a caption here. And it's some substance that it makes your lungs like get bigger. They also gave me 2 steroid shots, I think it was, something to also help with the lungs to open up for the baby. They gave me that while I was trying to get it, while they were trying to induce me. That's when they did it. Yeah, so even though they did that, he was born with hard time breathing, so they had to give him oxygen. So they took him to the NICU like right away. They let me see him one last time. I remember I was like, with my arms open like that, kind of crucified position, and I looked to my left, and that was the last time I saw him before, then I saw him again at the NICU. And I was sad, I was worried, but at the same time, I knew he was in good hands. I always trust the doctors there, and I think that's very, very, very important. Especially when, some things don't go exactly as planned. You know what I mean? When the baby needs some extra TLC, I think you gotta trust your doctor, like, you gotta trust them, the neonatologist and my doctor there, everybody. That's very important, and that I think helped me get through what was gonna come for the next couple of weeks. So they took him to the NICU. I wasn't sore at all, of course. The anesthesia was still on, was kicking in. Then they took me to the recovery room. Then I got nauseous. Then I remember I got so tired, so sleepy. I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I think they gave me some medication for nausea, because I started like puking. Yeah, sorry, TMI. Yeah, I started like puking, so they gave me some medication, and I couldn't keep my eyes open. I remember they took me to the room. The surgery was like at, I don't know, I'm gonna say, he was born 7:04 p.m. They finished, stitching me up like around 7:30, 7:40 or something like that, I'm not sure. They took me to the recovery room for like a couple hours, and then to my room. And I was so sleepy, so drugged up, so like high or whatever it was, that I didn't get to like text my dad, send some kind of message to my family to say, hey, I made it fine, the baby's here, or something. They were probably, on the other side of the continent, like waiting to hear from me, like how the surgery went. And I just fell asleep. So then I woke up like at 4 in the morning and text them like, I'm alright. So, oh my goodness, that was crazy. Sorry, this video is gonna be long, guys. I'm sorry. You know how I am, I love to talk, and there's so much to tell you guys that I cannot make it short. So anyway, so I woke up the next day. I was a little bit sore, but not crazy sore. I was very surprised. A nurse went with me to the bathroom, and she helped me, stand up. And I gotta say, I was very lucky with my recovery. I recovered quickly. I recovered very quickly. I went home. He was born on Tuesday, and I got discharged on a Thursday, the Thursday after that. So yeah, so I was recovering well. So I went home, but he had to stay in the NICU. He still had the trouble, the issue breathing. He had a bunch of things. When I saw him for the first time, it was kind of heartbreaking to see him like that, and I don't wish this on anybody. And if you had a baby at the NICU, if you went through that, you know how hard it can be. It was very sad to see him, you know, he had like a feeding tube, he had a CPAP, it's like a thing here on the nose. He had an oxygen, what else did he have? I can't remember right now, but he had a bunch of cables and tubes and things, and it was pretty heartbreaking to see him like that. He also had a little bit of jaundice when he was born, so they had to do the phototherapy thing, so his eyes were covered as well. He had his eyes covered, so you couldn't even see his face almost. Now, so you might wonder, like, why didn't you film anything on the NICU? Well, the reason why is, and I hope you understand, guys, but it was, again, a very stressful and sad time for me. More than, well, it was sad, but it was very stressful. Because when you have a baby in the NICU, you don't know when they're coming home, you don't know what's gonna happen, you don't know if they're coming home. I started having these kind of images in my head, you know, like you start to imagine bad things sometimes, you know, like you're like, what if he doesn't come home? What if something happens to him and I don't have my baby at home here with me? So I don't know, I would have just gone crazy. I think I would have lost my mind if something would have happened to him and he wouldn't have come home with me. I was just gonna lose it, really. So yeah, so that's the reason. At first there were days when I thought I should film, you know, to kind of document this, you know, this experience for other people that are going through the same. But at the same time, I didn't wanna film that. I didn't wanna have a video of that because it was just too sad, and I don't regret not filming, you know, not documenting like that those days, those a little bit over 2 weeks. That's how long it was. So finally, when he started, you know, breathing on his own and he was able to eat on his own, because at first he would start eating like having a bottle and then would fall asleep. That's very common in preemies too. They get like tired quickly and stuff. So he started, you know, getting better at it, kind of pacing himself, and you know, he started eating more. So then one day they took the feeding tube. It was like very slow process, you know. Every day he would get better and they would remove something, a tube or a cable or something, you know, out of him, and so it was great. So finally on March 30th, so yeah, like I said, it was a little bit over 2 weeks, he came home. They told me he could come home. They tried to do the car seat test like twice, I think it was, and he failed because he's so tiny that when they would put him on the car seat, he would get like, you know, kind of like this, and his head would go like, as my camera shut down for the second time. So yeah, so again, he is so tiny that he's getting bigger now though, but he was so tiny back then that, you know, his head would go forward, and when that would happen, his airways would get like obstructed, so he couldn't breathe right, and so his oxygen levels would drop, and they don't like to see that. Especially, you know, I mean, you're gonna take him home, like what do you do if something happens, you know, and what do you do if the oxygen drops too much, you know, and there's nothing you can do about it. So yeah, so they want to make sure. So that's something, when you have a preemie baby in the NICU, they always do the car seat challenge, they call it, and it's like 1.5 hours or more. Like this last girl, the last time they did it for over half an hour, over 1.5 hours, sorry, over 90 minutes long. So it was pretty nerve-wracking, you know, we were looking at the monitors like the whole time, like, oh gosh, don't drop, or if it drops, it has to go back by itself within 10 seconds. If not, it's counted as the bad thing. So yeah, so he finally passed and he came home. And okay guys, I am sure you want to see my baby boy. His name is Lucas Gabriel. I'm in love with him, and I'm gonna go get him now and bring him here so you guys can see him. I'll be right back. Okay guys, here he is. Say hi, Lucas. He's like, he was sleeping. Oh my goodness, you guys. Look at this baby. He makes the cutest faces. Are you sleepy? Are you sleepy? So I can't believe that this little thing was inside of my tummy. I can't believe that. Look at him. He loves to put his hands on his face. I don't want to upset him because he gets kind of cranky when I, you know, if I wake him up, or if, you know, he's with someone else and I just grab him. Look at that hair. Look at that hair, guys. Everybody says, oh my god, he has so much hair. Yeah, he has a head full of hair. Head full of hair. I am so in love with him. So I'm glad that things went well in the end. You know, he had a bumpy start. He had a bumpy start, and I mean, yeah, it was scary at times. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm so happy that he is home. He's home with us. So yeah, so I'm gonna try to start vlogging more and filming now that I have introduced him to you guys. Okay, so say hi. Yeah, he opens his eyes, but not too much. Sometimes he does. Actually, well, he has been opening them way more now. Again, you know, he was 5 weeks early, so I don't know. He should still be in my tummy. It's hard to believe that he has been here for 4 weeks now, and he still should be inside my tummy. I mean, if he had been on turn. So it's pretty crazy. So anyways, yeah, so expect a lot more videos. I'm gonna give updates. I do have a pediatrician appointment on Friday. I went to the pedi already like the day after he was discharged. They told me to take him, and I did, and he was just fine. He was gaining weight. So I'm gonna give you an update. Maybe I'll try, yeah, because my appointment is in the morning. The appointment is in the morning. So I'm gonna try to give you an update that same day. It's gonna be his 1 month checkup. I can't believe that, 1 month. And sorry for recording this video now, but life has been pretty crazy. When he was in the NICU, I just didn't feel like filming anything. Then he came home and I was like, what? I was overwhelmed, you know, it was crazy. I don't get much sleep at night, guys. I don't, thanks God for makeup right now. I mean, I would look like a mommy or something, like a zombie or something. He's very nice during the day. He's very nice during the day. He sleeps a lot, but at night he tends to get cranky and colicky and all that, and hungry. So yeah, so last night he was a good boy. Last night, some nights he's nice, he's pretty nice, but others he wouldn't let me sleep like at all. So anyways, okay, thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for sticking around, for waiting. You probably wonder what the hell happened with my pregnancy updates, like where was I? And now you know why. Now you know the answer to that. So yes, I gave birth, well, I had a C-section 5 weeks early. So yes, oh, look at that. I gotta show you this. Oh my god, he makes the cutest faces. He always loves to put like his hands on his face. He's so cute. He makes the cutest faces. Anyways, okay guys, thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos with this sweetheart, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye.